Good morning, everybody. Welcome on in. I have been trying to compile my thoughts after four of the best days I can really ever recall. This was last weekend. I thought I'd share my experiences and my takeaways and everything else about what was truly one of the most enjoyable trips I have ever taken. So, last Friday, I took a short hop from Honolulu to Kahului in the island of Maui. This was my first time in what is known as the Valley Isle, and I have nothing but positive things to say. I was blown away with everything from the diversity of the nature to the friendliness of the people to the incredible food to the fascinating history. Uh, and before I go any further in this video, I'm not going to name her, but my dear friend who showed me this island, I have nothing but the deepest of gratitude for showing me the island in a way that I'd have never been able to experience alone because you knew where to go, you knew where best to stop, and we made memories that I think I'll never forget. So I'm very, very appreciative uh, to you for that. You are an incredible friend, and I I owe you a great deal of gratitude for that. It's important to say thank you. So this is my sincerest mahalo nui to you. As far as the trip itself was concerned, let's talk a little bit about it. So flew in on the 14th. We were going to camp out near Hana, which is, if you look on a map of Maui, it is on the easternmost edge where there is a very famous road there called the Road to Hana. We drove out there and saw loads and loads of waterfalls. So, especially in the winter months, Maui, like the other Hawaiian islands, tends to get more rain. And as a result, the waterfalls are a lot bigger. We ended up going and walking to some waterfalls, and the splendor that these waterfalls bring is I did make an Instagram post about this. That post does not do any of the waterfalls I saw justice. We are talking, some of them were rushing hard enough to where it was kind of like Niagara, where there's just a fine mist everywhere, and rainbows kind of just appear everywhere because of the water saturating the very sunny skies, because it is still Hawaii. Um, just amazing. Just simply put, incredible. Uh, we rented I think it was a little like a Jeep Compass or something, nothing out of the ordinary, but it was a capable little rig for the job. It handled all the little off-roading bits we had to do, some of the more off the beaten trail roads just fine. Held all of our stuff, and we went camping out there at I've been practicing this name, Wai'a Napa Napa, which is just to the north of Hana. It's a very scenic site located next to an old graveyard. So if you go at the right time, you might hear some things. But the two things that really stood out to me there were the stars that night. For very good reason, there are a lot of telescopes on the top of Haleakala, which is Maui's biggest mountain. But it's because you are thousands of miles from any other major source of light, right? The Hawaiian Islands are extremely isolated. As a result, the night skies are truly spectacular, and you get a better appreciation of how the original Polynesians were able to go from island to island because the stars are so clear due to the darkness. Um, it's it's quite impressive. It really is. The next morning, we woke up there at Waianapanapa, and the there's a black sand beach there. There is a famous video, I believe, involving Vince Neil and Pamela Anderson. If you're old enough, you'll get the reference. If you're not, go Google it, or maybe don't. It's not safe for work. I'll put it that way. Um, but there's a cave there on that black sand beach, and we went exploring in there, and yep, okay, it looked a little familiar for again anybody who knows what video I'm talking about. You'll put it together pretty quickly. Um, Carried on from there, went up to I believe it's Kanai, I want to say is the name. Yeah, Kanai. So as you're going on the road to Hana, there's this there's this turnoff point, and it goes down towards the ocean where there's this little peninsula that's on low ground, and Keanai is the little town that's there. There's this beautiful church that they've been renovating. We actually got to talk to the people renovating it, and it's very pretty. But right next to there is Auntie Sandy's banana bread. So Gordon Ramsay himself, okay, the guy who, one of the most renowned chefs in the world, states that one of his favorite desserts is banana bread, but specifically banana bread from Hawaii. And this must have been what he was talking about. Super dense, super loaded with banana flavor, moist, just a little crumbly, and a crust on the top. And it was warm, just straight out of the oven. Best banana bread I've ever had in my life. Oh my God. Just sensational. Uh, can't recommend that enough. If you were bothering to go all the way out to Hana, stop there and get the banana bread. 100% worth it. It's like $9 for a loaf. Honestly, they could charge 30 and it would still be worth every penny. Uh, Genuinely one of the most delicious things I have ever eaten. Uh, Carried on, we went to Ho'okipa Beach, which is a very famous surf spot. Watched a lot of the surfers and the Honu. There are, and you'll see it on my Instagram. There are like on one side of the beach, there's this walled off part where a lot of the turtles go. These are huge turtles. We're talking like the size of boulders. And if you just take a glance at it, you might mistake them for rocks. I promise you, they're not rocks. They are just these gigantic tortoises that chill there on the beach. They'll like roll on top of each other, and it's pretty neat to see. They're friendly. Like, if you're walking alongside the beach and you may notice one on the side where a lot of the humans are, keep your distance, maybe 10 feet or so or a little more. But if you want to take a good picture of them, you can get up fairly close to them. Don't get, within more than about 10 feet, but they're fascinating to just watch. Obviously being turtles, they don't move very quickly, but uh, they're incredible. It's one of those between that and the waterfalls, it's one of those, wow, God really was an artist, and I think Hawaii was his piece de resistance, if you will. Hit Paia, which is this little, I want to say kind of bohemian hippie style town. There's a foods, kind of a green foods kind of grocery store called Mana Foods, and in there, oh my God, I think we ended up going back twice because it was that good. Ube Haupia pie was amazing. I've never had a vegan chocolate mousse that tasted like that. I can't describe it. It's like imagine the thickest, richest chocolate pudding you've ever had. Just phenomenal. They have these good cold pad thai noodles, or they weren't pad thai noodles. They're like Thai noodles. It was like pad thai-ish, but not quite. Those were really good. I had some chicken that was really good, and these beef patties. They had these beef patties. It was beef from Molokai, and I swear it was like Wagyu. It was so tender with the brown gravy and the mushrooms. It just, oh, spectacular, wonderful. Um, so we did that. Just fantastic food. And then that evening, we went over to the west side of Maui. So Maui, if you look on it like a map, it's kind of shaped like a bit of a bow tie, where you've got some mountains in the west, one very, very large mountain in the east, and then a valley in the middle, which is why it's the Valley Isle. And we went down to Olowalu. There's a campsite down there. We camped there for the next 2 days and spent the evening snorkeling over in Ka'anapali. Now, before we went there, we drove through Lahaina. For those of you who don't know, a couple of years ago, Lahaina got almost entirely destroyed in a very tragic wildfire, and the town is struggling to rebuild. I am looking, if any of y'all are Hawaiian or from Hawaii or have been to Maui and you have good charitable recommendations for helping rebuild Lahaina, please send them to me. I'm still trying to do research as to what the best one to give is. And usually every December around Christmas time, that's where I like to do a lot of my charitable giving because it's the spirit of the season, I think. That's what makes Christmas special. But either way, even, there's a lot of like temporary houses, a lot of lots that have just been burned and are kind of empty. Like the food land is it's just gone. It's like the closest parallel I could give you was post Katrina New Orleans. It's bad. But there's a part of the town that didn't get burned and they are rebuilding and there's signs of life. There are shoots growing up out of the burned ground. Um it's going to be a hard road to recovery. And I don't think Lahaina will ever be what it was, but definitely I would love to see Lahaina recover in any way it can. Definitely if you know anyone that was affected by the fires or anyone from Maui that has recommendations for charity, that I would recommend looking into that. If you find this to be a riveting tale, or if you've been to Maui yourself and you loved it, hopefully as much as I did. Carried on that evening to Ka'anapali, just one town north of Lahaina, and we went snorkeling right at sunset. Got to see from Ka'anapali, you can see the islands of Molokai and Lanai from there, with the sun kind of setting right over Lanai, and just amazing, just mind-blowingly beautiful. Uh, we saw a couple more honu, a couple, lots and lots of fish, including, yes, the humu humu nuku nuku apua'a, which is the reef triggerfish, or the state fish of Hawaii. We also saw the humu humu nuku nuku ele ele, which is a cousin to that. So it's a kind of Hawaiian names take some practice, but they are fun to say. Uh, the clarity of water in between those three islands, Molokai, Lanai, and Maui, it's like the Caribbean, I guess, is probably the closest I get to it. Some parts of the Caribbean where it's just crystal clear, you could see a lot. Like we were at sunset and we were able to see everything. It was so good that the next morning we went back and snorkeled in the morning, and it was worth it too because we saw ray, loads of moray eels, urchins, starfish, you name it. Just tremendous. Lots and lots of pretty coral, of course, too. Carried on, spent most of the third day on the beaches. It was a lot more chill that day. Went over to Makena and did a little bit more snorkeling at Makena Landing. There's the Ho'opili Trail. So there's a bunch of lava flows, old pyroclastic lava flows, that I want to say the Hawaiian name. There's two. The first name for it is A'a, which is more like the sharp, kind of almost crumbly lava rock, and then the smoother one is Laupa Hoi Hoi. Again, fun names to say, but they do take some practice. Uh, there were little. It was mostly A'a, but you can walk through there, and it's all black rock, and it's very beautiful in a almost otherworldly kind of like this exists on this planet sort of way. Get a great view of the Molokini crater and Kaho'olave, which is the target isle. I'm gonna go ahead and say, as someone who works for the U.S. Navy, we have not treated Hawaii very nicely. Um, to put it mildly. I would love to someday, and again, if anybody ever knows any connections to make this happen, apparently there are ways to get to that island. It's called the Target Island because after Japan invaded or attempted, or sorry, after Japan bombed Pearl Harbor, the U.S. Navy used it as a bombing target for air raid campaigns in the island hopping war for World War II in the Pacific Theater, and continued to do so through Korea and Vietnam. I think there is a way for environmental restoration to go out to that island. And yeah, if anybody sees this video and knows a way to do that, please let me know because I feel like that would be the right thing to do, at least in some small way, try to help make things a little bit better. Now, I'm a strong, proud American. However, being proud of one's country does not mean hiding away from criticism. There are a lot, and Hawaii in particular might be the most blatant example of things the United States has to answer for. But yeah, it would be really cool if I could do that someday. Uh, we'll see. Actually, I'll come back to that in a little while. After that, the final day we spent in two different places. We woke up early to get up atop Haleakala, which is the largest mountain on the island of Maui, and if you measure from the sea floor, the third largest mountain in the world, only behind Mauna Loa and Mauna Kea on the Big Island of Hawaii. Because once you get off of the Hawaiian Islands, you're going right to the Pacific abyss. So it's about 10,000 feet above sea level at the top. Uh, there's a great. It's not a crater, so to speak. It's called the crater, but there wasn't any astrological like impact there that caused it. It's just the way the mountain developed after eruption that you can walk around at 9 to 10,000 feet and look at um, the little eruption spots. Like one of them is it's called like Halali'i. Uh, Another one is they're like the little cinder cones basically where because eruptions, right? It's geologic time. We're talking happening over millions of years. So, every I don't know, couple centuries or so, there'd be a new cinder that erupted lava and so on and so forth. Eventually, we'll all be dead, but eventually, Kilauea on the Big Island will get to be the same way. I believe the last eruption at Haleakala was 500 years ago, so it's still active, but it's dormant, and it's moving off the lava hotspot that created the Hawaiian Islands, which is why the most active volcano is Kilauea. And there is I forget what the actual Hawaiian name is. They changed it recently. There is a seamount called Loihi, or at least it was called Loihi, which means long, I believe, or tall. That is about, I want to say like 50 miles southeast of the Big Island. That is going to eventually erupt above sea level and become the ninth Hawaiian island. Sorry, Vegas. That would make Vegas the 10th island, but we will all be long dead before that ever happens. Anywho, Haleakala is beautiful. It is a long drive to get up there. There are people who ride their bicycles up it, and I would love to do that at some point. Uh, just tremendous. After that, we went over to the Iao Valley on West Maui. And if you are a history buff, there is a battle there called the Damming of the River because of the number of bodies. So it was between, I believe, King Kahekili and the forces of King Kamehameha. So at the time, under Kahekili, Maui Nui, which is the four islands I've talked about so far, Maui, Lanai, Molokai, and Kaho'olawe, as well as Oahu, I believe, were under the Maui Empire. And Kamehameha came from the Big Island. Kamehameha is the one who united the Hawaiian Islands and created the Hawaiian Kingdom. He did not do this peacefully, with the one exception of Kauai, but that's a different conversation. Kauai is its own thing on that one. But the Battle of Iao Valley in those mountains, there's a needle that the Maui troops used as a lookout point, and uh, the battle was extremely bloody. And my friend told me that if you go there at night, sometimes you can still hear the drums, you can still hear war cries, you can still hear the screams of death and all of that. So it's pretty fascinating stuff to learn about the history that happened there because there's the history of these islands is it matches the land in terms of its splendor and its how fascinating it is. There's really no other place like these islands in the world, and I'm beyond grateful to live here. I'm very happy. Today's been less fun. Did not do very well in the gym, and there's been some other annoying things that have happened. At least A&M's doing well, but uh, all in all, I can't complain. this is this is why I'm doing this. This is actually a little bit therapeutic for me because the last 24 hours has just been very frustrating for a variety of reasons that are mostly out of my control. Oh, I forgot, we also hit the town of Kula, which is like a mountain town right in the foothills of Haleakala. There's a country farm there where we got a bunch of these beautiful, delicious strawberries, and I fed a lemon to a goat, which was very funny to watch. The goat was like, it was really, really funny. Because goats eat anything. But even this goat was like, "Bro, why'd you throw me a lemon?" I got a bunch of them at a farm stand in Hana, and uh, I couldn't take them back with me, so I was like, "All right, I'll throw the goat a lemon." Let's see what else. Okay, a couple takeaways. First off, go camping. If you visit Maui in particular, the state campsites are amazing, and that keeps money in the local economy. Can't recommend it enough. The stargazing is enough of a reason to do it alone. The weather's pretty much perfect, and yeah, you're gonna have a good time. If you camp on the eastern side of the island, maybe pack something that like a rain shield or an umbrella or something, because it can get wet. But otherwise, yeah, just amazing. Buy local. So, and I'm going to talk about the total cost of this because this is a financial optimization channel as well. But there are times and places where you should skimp on a vacation. Getting food, especially from local joints, and I hadn't even touched the surface of what all we got. At Ho'okipa, got this amazing lau lau plate from this big old Hawaiian dude who is just chilling and making a bunch of them and selling them. Oh, it had a little bit of butterfish in it too, which is rare. A lot of people who make lau lau now, it's just pork. And don't get me wrong, it's still delicious, but a little bit of butterfish elevates a lau lau so much. And the poi hitting just perfect, just a little bit sour, the way I like it. The lomi salmon was nice, it was salty. Hot take, which would get me killed here, but I feel like lomi salmon would be so much better with diced up jalapeno in it, the way Pico has it. I don't know. I feel like that would be an amazing combination. Um, and then when we were down towards Makena, we were in Kihei when we got this. There's a food truck called Kinaole Grill. They have these ahi bombs. It's like an ahi katsu. It's like they deep fry these chunks of ahi in panko crust and serve it with a salad and rice. It's just, oh, so good. Yeah, basically everything. And then all the fresh fruit stands, fresh lilikoi, fresh bananas, you name it. Just awesome. Just fantastic. Um, buying local, especially in light of the Lahaina fires, if you do go, is a good way to help the economy. So, yeah, you might pay a little bit more for that carton of strawberries, but if it came from the island, it's worth it. That as an example, or you know go go find the food truck, or go find the guy selling lao lao at the side of the road. Those are going to be the first off, you still get very good value for your money because the food is not small and it is very tasty. But I feel like that's a really good way to make sure if you're visiting, some of that money stays in the local economy, which I think is that's important. uh Another one, and this is actually, before I go any further, I'm going to talk about the cost because I actually wrote it all out. So I did have miles to pay for what is a pretty small flight. Flight from Honolulu to Kahului is pretty affordable for the most part. If you anywhere between like $60 and $200, depending on what time you pick it and how in advance you pick it. Really kind of depends on the seasons as well. But between that, food and eating out for 4 days, it was about $200. It's like $50 a day, which I splurged. I felt like I was never depriving myself. Like I was planning on eating at Mana Foods in Paia, and I still did, but I still went and got the Lao Lao that day anyway. 10 out of 10. Worth it. Worth every penny. Um, the rental car and all other travel is about $200 because I split it with a friend. That's the other one. I'd recommend going. Obviously, if you know someone who knows the islands well, like I do, I'm very lucky. Uh, Definitely recommend going with a friend. Recreation was about $160. That's everything from campsite fees to just odds and ends. And then gifts. I got a few. That's another one. If you go to the islands, souvenirs you can bring back, like local tea, local. I got some kava. Coffee is another really great one. Uh, you can go for trinkets. Koa wood is a big one, but there's loads and loads of things like go find the local made artists or artisans or food producers or stuff like that, and pick their brains, try and think about what would be a good gift and grab it. I would recommend that. Spent some on that. The total was about $600 for a 4-day camping trip, which is on the expensive side, but a lot of these, again, were buying local, and to me, every penny, money well spent. Like if I wanted that, I wanted that loaf of banana bread, I went and got it. I didn't really think about the cost. Um, I could have easily done it for less, and I'm glad I did not. But 100% money well spent. Uh, Loved it. Final thing, and I'll wrap up here, was on the flight back, we got delayed because Hawaiian Airlines is currently in a merger with Alaskan and it's a mess. But I ended up sitting next to Kumu. This dude has lived a life. This is what I want to be like when I'm his age. His name was, let me find it here. I want to pronounce it correctly. It was Francis Sinensi. I can, I'll post, what, I've got the YouTube link. I'll post that in the description about this guy because I'm not going to do him justice by what I tell you. But this guy was born in the islands. He's born Hawaiian, served for 28, 29, I think, years in the Air Force, became an E9, so a Chief Master Sergeant. That is the highest enlisted rank you can get. Uh, Retired and started helping with Hawaiian restoration. So there is, if you go to the Iao Valley, there is a park called Kapanawai Park. And in there, they have these little houses representing all the different people that came and settled on these islands over the years. There's a Portuguese one, a Filipino one, a Chinese one, a Japanese one, and a Hawaiian one. Hawaiian Hale had gotten burned down a few years back. And this guy was one of the people that restored it. And he goes around restoring ancient heiau, which is Hawaiian religious sites, typically stone structures or stone arrangements, and just listening to him and asking him questions that was like the most entertaining plane ride I've ever had, and definitely the one where I learned the most. So very grateful. That's the other one. Recommend. Hell, and even when I took the rail back to get closer to home from the airport, ended up talking story. This is on Oahu with one of the rail workers about the trip, and uh, especially around here, take that extra 10, 15 minutes to talk story with someone. That's kind of the way things are done here. You know, it's a laid back, especially on the outer islands. Oahu is definitely the busiest, but even here it still happens. Be willing to talk story. You never know what you're going to learn, and have an appetite for that kind of thing. Have an appetite to learn the history. Have an appetite to learn the culture. Have an appetite to try the food. Uh, when you do that, a lot has been made of the tourism industry's effect, both positive and negative, on these islands. But if you show up with history, or sorry, if you show up with an open mind and an appetite to learn, I think the locals do really appreciate that. I think that's true everywhere, but it's especially true here where the history is unique and not always nice to hear. It's going to make you challenge. It's if you talk to really any Hawaiian that's Kanaka Maoli, you're going to learn things that a lot of times you're not going to hear from other people, and you're going to get perspectives that you'd otherwise not hear. I think it's really valuable to do that. So I think challenging your assumptions and being willing to learn will make it makes a good vacation into a truly memorable trip. Like I'm never going to forget those 4 days, for lots of reasons, but that's one of them. I mean, looking at the Iao Valley and that stream there as it comes down into the waterfalls, and thinking about like the river turned red and it stopped because of the amount of bodies that were there in that battle. That's crazy. That's like a Gettysburg type moment or an Antietam type moment for those of you who are US Civil War buffs. Which is actually that was kind of fun because I shared that with my friend who was born and raised on these islands about some of the battle sites. If you go to the South in the United States, the Carolinas, Georgia, Tennessee, Virginia, Maryland, you will see a ton of Civil War battle sites, and it's very much the same kind of bone-chilling history where it's like, wow, a lot of good men died here. A lot of men died in war for who or what they believed in. It's some pretty metal stuff, honestly. Anyway, but yeah, just I have nothing but positive things to say. I'm gonna link this video to the Instagram and l- vice versa. But that's all I had for y'all today. I've got a lot of other stuff I need to do. Never a dull day around here. I might. I was originally gonna go hiking to clear my thoughts, but actually recording this video is very therapeutic. So if you watched any of this or all of this, thank you very much. It means a lot. If you've got questions for me, or you want to just talk, I've got a Discord channel. You can always visit there or write to me at askfullmuscle@gmail.com. But until next time, make good decisions. Those good decisions form your actions. Those actions form your habits. Those habits form your values. Those values form an ethos that can be the guide star through the rough waters of life. And those good decisions might lead you to places you never thought you'd visit. And they definitely will lead you to friends that you probably don't even deserve to be around. You know who you are from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Much love. Y'all come in for the hug. Um, I don't think I have any more consultations on the docket for now, so we'll see what comes next. Shoots.